Hey y'all, this is my Real Housewives of New York review. You know, I thought the most cringeworthy scene this season was going to be Ebony talking to Ramona about politics at Ramona's house. I didn't think they could top that, but boy did they succeed with this episode. I think this episode provided the most cringeworthy dinner scene I think of all the Housewives franchises. Like, it was chaos, but not in a good way. But anywho, let's get into the episode. So we open with Leah at her home. She's studying Hebrew, and it's because she's converting to Judaism for a plot line. And that's all I gotta say on that, because let's just call a spade a spade. She's on the phone with Ebony on FaceTime, and she's discussing her journey, and then they talk about Ebony's upcoming Shabbat dinner. Ebony is very excited about it, and Leah's gonna show off what she's learned so far since she started studying. Little do they know that this event is going to be a complete and utter disaster. Meanwhile, across town, we're with Ramona and her real estate agent mentor, and he's giving her some practice on selling a property to one of his clients. Ramona is of course being Ramona by not letting this man get a word in, as well as pretending that she knows what she's talking about. What I got from her confessional is she's pretty bored right now and she wants to do real estate now so she can have something to do. So the client arrives and Ramona's telling him about the property. Her mentor is kind of interjecting here and there to help her out. She literally hits this man on the shoulder, and pretty hard. And I'm just thinking, how unprofessional is this? And the guy looks like he wanted to hit her back, but he realized he was on TV. So he's just smiling super hard as he grits his teeth at Ramona. So it's a pretty nice property, but I'm sure no one is living in it to this day, because I feel like that's just typical for those expensive New York real estate where it's just like people buy and sell it, but all this time, like, no one's inhabiting this property. Anywho, Ramona continues to be annoying while her real estate mentor just patronizes her. Next scene, we're with Ebony. She's invited a genetic investigator to help her continue the search for her father. From the gist of this scene, the investigator is pretty confident that she'll be able to find Ebony's dad. She even tells her that she can find him in a week's time tops. Next scene, we're with Sonia. She's meeting her date that she was set up with by the matchmaker that was introduced to her by Ebony. They're having lunch, and this guy looks a lot like Luann's ex-husband, the Count. Don't y'all think? Sonia says the guy doesn't look like his picture, but that's probably because she was too focused on looking at his loafers. I'm looking at the picture and the guy looks exactly like how he looks. This date looked like it's lacking chemistry already. Sonia says he got one strike because he doesn't even live in a 10-block radius of her. I think that's pretty silly. And then the second strike is because he just sold his house in France, so there's no house in France to go to. I mean, we clearly see Sonia has a checklist. So this date ends, and I think they're never going to see each other again. I mean, she does tell him, oh, I hope we can see each other again, but yeah, we all say that on bad dates. I just feel bad for Sonia because, I mean, they spent all that time trying to see a matchmaker and like get all her likes and wants in the database, and they had this one little lunch date. I'm like, that's it? I mean, couldn't the day continue at least? Like lunch and something else? Next scene, we see all the ladies getting ready for Ebony's event. Ramona calls Luann and tells her that she hopes the event isn't too preachy like Ebony's last Harlem event, and she just wants to have fun. Luann is on the other line just laughing nervously, telling Ramona, hey, it is what it is. We then see Leah calling Ebony, telling her she won't be able to make the dinner tonight because she was exposed to COVID and now she has to quarantine for 5 days. Ebony is devastated because now she's left with these other women and nobody to back her up if anything goes wrong. Leah does suggest, though, that she can be there through Zoom where she can at least still lead the prayer that she wanted to do. So it's later in the evening and all the ladies are going to meet up by Ebony's residence, where they'll then take a big party bus to Jersey where her friend will be hosting the event. Soon as Ramona steps foot on that bus, she tells Ebony, oh, well, you know I don't do this for everybody. As if like her presence is some type of privilege or some shit. And of course she tells Ebony how long it took her to get to Tribeca, I'm guessing from the Upper East Side, to let her know that she was inconvenienced. Ooh, Ramona can be such a bitch, can't she? Like, hello, how are you? I'm so excited, Ebony. Instead of being like, oh, well, I don't do this for everybody, just letting you know. I'm going to Jersey from Upper East Side. I could be in the Hamptons. She is so rude, it's crazy to me. So all the ladies are dressed nice, surprisingly. I mean, Ebony always kills it, but I actually like what Sonia, Ramona, and Luann have on too. Ebony is now giving them the rundown of what to expect this evening. I'm not sure why she needs to tell them the ethnicities of everyone that's going to be there, but also she lets them know that Leah isn't going to be able to make it. She's going to be there on Zoom, and Ramona thinks that is just super strange. So they arrive in Summit, New Jersey. I already checked, it's 40 minutes away from Manhattan. That's not too bad because, I mean, I'm in the city and it takes me that long, if not longer, to get to Brooklyn. When they get off the bus, they have a little mini snowball fight, but what really took me out was hearing Sonia say that she's off the chain tonight. No comment. Moving on. The ladies all walk into the host's house. Her name is Archie, and I'm having the hardest time trying to figure out her age. Like, she can be anywhere from 38 to 50. That's what I'm getting from her. I think it's the hair that's throwing me off. Ebony also introduces the ladies to her 3 black friends, and I'm sure these friends have no idea what they've gotten themselves into. Now, Sonia is giving me a little tipsy because she's getting very chatty and socially awkward with the host already. Lord, Ramona is starting by criticizing this woman's dinner table that she decorated. Like, Ramona is the queen of backhanded compliments. Like, she says she loves how eclectic, modern, and unusual looking it looks. Like, it really works. She then takes the napkins off the table and shows the host how big it is, and she wraps it around her body. I will say those napkins are big, but damn, like, you really have to like wrap it around you like a halter top? Seriously? Archie is trying her best to be hospitable to Ramona, but Ramona being nice nasty is just involuntary to her. Like, why do you feel the need to tell this woman that her dinner napkins at the table don't match? Like, what's the purpose? Like, what do you get out of it? Did you get the guy? Did you get the car? Did you get the house? So everyone moves to the eclectic dinner table, and Lord, as soon as I see the table, they have pamphlets on the plates. Here we go, history lesson 101. I mean, I love Ebony, but damn, like, does everything gotta be like a lesson? Like, turn to this in the course packet. Like, they have literal packets on the plates. As they sit down, Ebony brings up Leah on Zoom. She thanks everybody for coming. And then we cut to Ramona, who's eating before they even said the prayer first. Again, showing that she's a rude, selfish, ignorant bitch. But I digress. So the host starts, and already Ebony's phone goes off because Leah's Zoom isn't working. So now she switches to FaceTime on Ebony's phone. Unfortunately for Leah, there's a lot of technical difficulties going on. I figured the messy producers must have cut the Wi-Fi off or something. Like, they trying to start some type of chaos. Like, Leah can barely see or hear what's going on at the dinner table. And of course this annoys Ramona, who's being just so rude to Leah, who's clearly trying to be a part of the situation. The dinner continues and they're all learning about the history. Ebony is setting up Leah to say the prayer. Ramona and Sonia are bickering and it's making everyone at the table very uncomfortable. Leah sings the prayer and it's really nice, but it kind of reminds me of when like a parent pushes their child out who can't sing to perform for everybody. And then at the end, everyone is applauding out of sympathy. It was given that. So the host takes time to praise Ebony and also say how she appreciates that people want to learn, only to be interrupted by Ramona and more of her inappropriate, awkward comments. Especially when Archie is talking about the relationship between Jews and black people. Ramona just says, oh, but what about Jews and Italians? But we're not talking about that. Why don't you just listen when it involves something that you don't know nothing about? Sonia tries to reel Ramona in, but it's just making the situation worse because now she's just joining in by making the situation more chaotic. Luann has proven to be the smartest person out of the 3 women because she is silent. She's listening as Ramona continues to dig herself in a deeper hole. Ebony is trying to explain this topic to Ramona, but the ignorant Karen refuses to listen and she keeps all lives mattering the conversation. It's kind of pissing me off as I'm watching it. Then Ramona, for some reason, says at the table that when she went to college, all the Jewish people hated her. What? Like, why is Ramona making this about herself? I swear some white people just want to be disenfranchised so bad. Like, just shut up. Shut up. Shut the fuck up. Sonya is again trying to shut Ramona up, and Leah has just had it. She is going off on Ramona from the phone sitting on the table. Leah even says in her confessional, Jewish people hated you in college. I'm sure everybody hated you in college. Funniest thing Leah has said all season. And it's funny because it's most likely true. This dinner has officially gone off the rails. I truly feel sorry for Ebony's friends just sitting at the table, just looking at all the chaos ensue. And Ramona, she just keeps going. She said the Jews hated her because she was Christian. And then she said she was discriminated against. I'm done. I am done. And out of frustration with Sonya, Ramona gets up from the table and says no one is listening to her, so she goes off to the bathroom. A few minutes pass by because they think Ramona left. Ramona comes back into the room screaming, saying, "Can I pee? Can I pee?" Everyone is yelling right now. And then you see Leah on the phone yelling too. And it's hilarious because all you see is like a big face on the phone screaming. It's pure chaos. Ramona is now giving the host Archie a very backhanded apology. And before Archie can respond, Sonya blurts out, "Well, you did have sex with the Jewish men." Lord, can someone take Sonya's drink from in front of her? This is just cringe for everyone involved. Ramona then screams that she wishes she was born Jewish, and sometimes she cries at night. Ebony has now had enough and says what we won't do is make it about you, Ramona, and your white isolation. And at that point, we cut to one of Ebony's friends with the most hilarious reaction as he's downing his drink. And that is me at the table. That is definitely what I would do. I am just sitting there with my cocktail observing. But shout out to this gentleman for providing some really good facial commentary. Sonya then yells at Ramona, "Can we please listen to the blacks and the Jews?" To which we cut to Ebony's friends. They're like, "The blacks and the Jews. Make it stop. Make it stop." Sonya is a fucking space cadet with no type of self-awareness. I mean, she's almost like the yin to Ramona's yang. Ebony is now horrified at Sonya and Ramona's behavior. She actually gets up from the table to go talk to Leah in private. But meanwhile, Ramona is now barking orders at the host saying that she's hungry and she hasn't eaten all day and can we please go to the first course? And then immediately we see production going back 2 hours ago to when Ramona was eating on the bus. So thank you for providing that contradiction. This chick really got up out her seat and went to the back of the kitchen demanding for food. And she doesn't want the first course now. She doesn't want snacks. She wants actual, like, oh, can I have like a protein, some actual food? She is off the chain right now. She's off the chain right now, actually. I am personally mortified by this cringe, disgusting, terrible behavior from this crazy-ass white woman. We then cut to Ebony talking to Leah on FaceTime, and they're discussing how awful Ramona is acting, and they're both embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. Secondhand embarrassment from watching this. They then cut to Ramona in the kitchen, badgering the chef about wanting actual food. We then cut to Ebony saying she regrets putting on this event, followed by a "to be continued," and that is where the episode ends. Just wow. This was insane. I did not enjoy watching this. This was just this cringe, like talking about a serious topic and making it so awkward by Ramona's continued ignorance and lack of self-awareness. This was painful to watch because it was also inappropriate as it was offensive. Ramona has managed to offend the Jews as well as the blacks. I would love to hear y'all comments on this episode, y'all. And side note, after this episode, we had a Watch What Happens Live with Dorinda Medley. It was so nice seeing her, and I really hope they ask her back. It was also interesting to see that she was clearly pissed at Andy as well as Bravo for not bringing her back. She said on there that, yeah, y'all didn't bring me back. To be fair, after that season Dorinda had, she needed a break because she was becoming an angry drunk. But anyway, oof, what an episode, and not in a good way. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all for Beverly Hills. Bye.